I'm RJ Gottlieb. I've been the driver of Big Red Camaro since 1987. Big Red is the fastest 69 Camaro in the world. With 2,000 horsepower, this beast is ready to dominate the road.
Mirage Dry Lake is an ancient flat playa in the Mojave Desert north of Los Angeles County. The hard pan dry lake bed, formed by thousands of years of watershed from the San Gabriel Mountains, creates a 6-mile-long surface that is perfectly flat, smooth, and nearly as hard as concrete. Considered by most to be the birthplace of hot rodding in the western United States, the Southern California Timing Association has been conducting and sanctioning speed trials at El Mirage since the late 1930s. A hot rod fever began as early as the 1920s and 30s, but it was really at the end of World War II that it became the sensation that it is today. California was home to a huge military and aerospace manufacturing industry. But after the war ended, the men and women who hand-built equipment and airplanes found themselves with skills for bending and shaping metal and a mechanical inclination that no longer supplied the war effort. Add to the mix the need for the thrill of speed, and the hot rod phenomenon exploded onto the scene. Guys who like to soup up an engine found that many of the aerodynamic components of an airplane could provide just the right platform for a real go-fast machine. This gave birth to one of the most iconic land speed racers, the Lakester. A little later on, they'd introduce coupes and sedans to the concept of dry lake racing. And at that point, it seemed like everybody was doing it. SCTA land speed racing at El Mirage is run on a dirt surface. The course length is 1.3 miles. Top speed is the only thing measured for a record.
We've been running these mile events, Mojave Mile, Texas Mile, and we started hitting some really big speeds, and it was pretty exciting. And everyone started asking, how fast can Big Red go? And if you want to go faster, you basically have to get into land speed racing.
The cool thing about El Mirage is the notoriety that it gets. It's worldwide.
We're always looking for new challenges for Big Red, and land speed racing was the next place to go. But it had its own list of challenges. A lot of people told us doing a 69 Camaro and that type of event just wasn't going to work well. And for us, that's the perfect type of thing. Give it a challenge, tell us we can't do it, and watch Big Red do it.
Big Red has long been a leader in the field of automotive innovation. Dave Ward and the crew created numerous unique setups to make the car competitive in various forms of racing. But nothing could prepare them for the changes that would come for racing on the dirt.
There are so many changes that we've done to the car from our normal run at Mojave or Willow Springs or Silver State or any of those. The rules are so much different for the land speed racing that we virtually changed everything in the car. It's probably the biggest change overall for a race that we've ever done in the life of Big Red.
Racing on the dirt at El Mirage is all about traction, and aerodynamics are critical. Blocking off the front of the car so no air passes through the grille is vital. The team installed spoilers, splitters, hood scoops, and wings to make Big Red as slippery as a 69 Camaro can be.
And we've taken everything basically that was in the back of the car, moved it to the front of the car, and everything that was in the front of the car, moved it back of the car. And this is just going to be one test after another of how everything that we've done, hopefully everything works as we plan it to.
Land speed racing is a little different than the typical race circuit where there's one winner out of every race, and people get points for how they placed, and it's really easy to determine what the stack up is. Land speed racing is more of a personal thing. There's hundreds of classes, and the first thing we had to do with Big Red is not look at a record that we wanted to break, but look at Big Red and decide where could Big Red be competitive.
The class we're running at El Mirage and going to be running at Bonneville is AA Classic Blown Fuel Altered. So AA is the size motor that we're running. Anything over 501 cubic inch is AA. The Classic is the year of the car, basically. We're I think it's 83 or 84, and blown, of course, is centrifugal blower. Fuel is anything other than gas, which are running an ethanol blend. And then the altered is we don't have to be bone stock body-wise. We can do little modifications.
Every race event, we have to pick what engine we're going to use to get the best results. For El Mirage, we think our best chance of doing well there is just to take out the biggest guns. And that's the biggest horsepower engine. That's the supercharged engine. It's the one that we debuted at Mojave, and you will take it to El Mirage, and I think we stand a real good chance of breaking the record.
We're at Romantic Brothers Dyno Shop, and we're dynoing our supercharged motor for El Mirage that we're planning on running this year. Hopefully it all works. Just did a small pull on it, made about 10 pounds of boost and about 5,500 RPM or so. Made about 1,100 horsepower. So far, so good.
The supercharged engine is creating impressive horsepower, but Dave and Larry are concerned about the air-fuel mixture. Readings from the dyno test reveal that the engine could be on the brink of a total meltdown.
We're just trying to decipher what our next move is as far as fuel and what we should do about keeping the O2 under control.
It's so critical when you're making that much horsepower for the fuel and air mixture to be correct, for it not to hurt parts. There's a fine line to walk there, and that's what they're trying to figure out now of what they need to do to make that fine line more stable. We've got the horsepower. We know the motor makes horsepower and lots and lots of torque. It's just a matter of conserving motor parts at this point, so we're not having to rebuild the motor every pass. Last week at the dyno with our new bore motor, made really good numbers, but we felt that the numbers were unsafe to run at any type of distance, that we would hurt the motor if we went ahead and used it. So it's still on the dyno and trying to get the bugs worked out of it, and decided to put the other 598 dual carburetor motor in. Back a little bit. And then we got to get tires mounted on them, get them on the car, get the car on the ground, and set all the chassis measurements at that point, and then we should be ready to go.
Want more adrenaline-fueled action? Then hit the like, follow, and subscribe button. Well, come join us for heart-pounding thrills and high-speed excitement.